All right, and we are live. What is going on, crew? Clay from Clay's Fitness jumping on here real quick. Just letting you guys know this is my first time ever recording. I've never done anything like this before, so this will be interesting. But I do have my coffee here. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can probably just watch me talk. But if you're listening to this on Spotify, even better. Hope you're going out there for a walk, or maybe you're at the gym. Maybe you're one of those crazy people. I have no idea. But after this was suggested to me by many people, I'm finally doing it. We're just messing around on here. Gonna have some conversations with some people. Today I'm just by myself, but I wanted to tell you guys my story. For all the new people who have followed me on Instagram and who want to know about my story, I'll just tell this by myself and tell you guys a little bit of background about me, some of the stuff I've been through. Let's just go right into it. So to start off, why am I doing this? The number one thing is I want to tell my story. I want to tell people the hardships and the successes I've had along the way. I've been in the gym for about 6 years, but I've been losing weight and tracking my calories and doing all that for about 5 years. I will tell you guys about some goals I got set up and some goals that I achieved. And hopefully you can learn from this, and I'm just trying to help others. I'm always free to answer any questions that I might know, and I'm also just doing this for fun. I'm definitely not a pro talker. I'm not really camera shy, but I'm also this is kind of awkward, people just watching me talk. It's gonna be fun, and I'm excited to have some people on here and get to know their story. So a brief summary about me. I am 24 years old. I am from Mount Forest, Ontario. So shout out to all those people who might know where that is, or if you're from there, even better. I'm from Mount Forest. I moved to London about 5.5 years ago. I moved here about 5.5 years ago, and that's really when I started losing weight more intensely. As soon as I moved here and I started tracking my own food and stuff, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to make a change. And I was going to the gym in Mount Forest, but when I moved to London, I didn't bring my car or anything, so I had to walk to the gym. And I will always say, walking has been the greatest exercise and weight loss routine for me. When I moved here, I was peaking about 310 pounds. Yes, and that was pretty big. If you follow my Instagram, you've seen the stories, you've seen the posts. I kind of forget what it's like being at that weight sometimes. I know what it's like being a bit heavier, but sometimes I'm you kind of forget how big you really were, because back then it was just your normal life. That's all you really knew, so you didn't really. It's so weird to explain to someone, but I remember some of the hardships, getting I couldn't even put a seatbelt on, and there was certain events that happened in my life that I'll never forget. Things like when I didn't fit on the roller coaster, and when I couldn't tie my own skates and stuff like that. I can talk about those later, but there has been some significant moments where holy shit, I'm pretty big, but for the most part I don't really remember. So it took me about a year to lose 100 pounds, and then I remember I was sitting around 220, in between 210 and 220 for a while, and then I really was that's when the binge eating really hit, but I'll get into that later. But so in total I've lost about 125 pounds. It's been quite the journey, especially with that binge eating disorder thrown in the middle of it. But as of right now, I feel better than ever. I feel more muscular and stronger than ever, but I also feel athletic, I can run, and I do my cardio and all that. So I feel pretty good. But to tell you guys a little bit about when I was heavier and growing up, my family was definitely not rich. We were not like we weren't like poor, but we weren't super well off. So going to McDonald's was like a treat. And eating basic meals at night, and just kind of, yeah, we had a lot of snacks and stuff as soon as we got home from school. Our meals were like somewhat healthy, but with all the snacking and the second servings of dinner and stuff, it adds up, especially when you're a kid and you're not as active. I really started putting pounds on when I was younger. And then I remember when I went to high school, I was in grade 9, and my brother had a size medium shirt. And it was a size medium, and then when I went to grade 9 and I got his hand-me-downs, the size medium didn't fit me. So I was wearing like size men's large in grade 9. And I was like, okay, no big deal. I know I'm a bit bigger than my brother. But no big deal. But then high school is really when I started putting more weight on. I did like grade 9. I did like the grade 9 gym class and whatnot, but after that, I wasn't super physically active. But yeah, I was in when I was going to high school. Like I was in control of my diet more because I was out of the house more. And you can go out for lunch and you can kind of control what you want for lunch and buy lunch and whatever. So I started putting more weight on just because that was my comfort. And then later on in high school, like I think it was the end of grade 10, that is when I got my license and I started driving around and stuff. And that was just freedom for me, If I wanted a snack, I drive into town and I go get a snack. If I want A&W, which was my favorite back then, still kind of is, but if I wanted a snack or I wanted a meal, it's literally just a 10-minute drive into town, no big deal, and go get some food. I put on a lot of weight because I was driving everywhere, picking up snacks, getting donuts, like the basic stuff. There wasn't much in Mount Forest, but I still ate a lot of stuff. So also while I was in high school, I was working at a restaurant. Shout out to The Spot. They're still going, so go check them out. But I was working there, and we would get a free meal after dinner. And with that, I was eating junk food like wings and chicken Caesar salads and pasta and you name it. I would make it and I'd have it for dinner. And I wouldn't finish work till like 8, 9 at night. So I was usually going to bed with a ton of food in me. But I enjoyed it. Like it was good work. I worked hard, but with that food being so easily accessible, I definitely put on a lot of weight like that way. And then later in my high school, I worked in the plumbing industry for about a year and a half, and we would go out for lunch, and I worked my ass off there. I've never been lazy. I've always been a hard worker, but I've also like rewarded myself for that. So we would get breakfast some days and get pizza for lunch and do whatever. Most tradespeople still do that kind of stuff, but that was the thing. So obviously I was doing that and working at the restaurant, so I was putting on a decent amount of weight. Mind you, I think I put on a decent amount of muscle at this time too, because I was working so hard and eating obviously well. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee here. Wow, that's good. I was working at a restaurant and plumbing at the same time for a while. And then when I moved to London, I stopped the plumbing, and I slowly started working at the Spot full time. And then I quit there, and I moved to London. At this point, I was going to the gym for about 6 months. So I started going to the gym in March of 2016. That was my first gym experience. I was strong. I could move a lot of weight. I feel like I've gained a lot of muscle. Like I gained the newbie gains back then, but obviously my nutrition was not on point. So that is where like I didn't lose any weight by any means, but I feel like I did gain some muscle. And with the muscle gain, and obviously like not losing any fat, that's actually when I hit my heaviest weight of around 310 pounds. So yeah, that was my heaviest, but I was also strong. But then I moved to London in, September 1st, 2016. That's really, I don't know what, something clicked that day, and I said, like, to myself that I'm in control, and I started tracking my food, and I knew I could do it. I knew I was a hard worker, and I knew if I put my focus into this, I could do it. So I moved here. I had my last McDouble with my family when we moved in. And then the very next day, I started tracking my food. I was eating oatmeal, peanut butter jam sandwiches. I would have protein shakes and stuff like that. Pretty basic stuff in the beginning, but I was in control of it. And also at this time, I didn't have a car, so I was doing a ton of walking, and like not just like 10,000 steps, no, probably like 25, 30,000 steps. I loved it though, because I was new to the city. I've never been out of Mount Forest in my whole life, so this was the first new place for me. I was doing so much walking, and I loved it. I would just explore around, go for like little nature walks and such. And like I said, I was walking to the gym and back, so I'd walk to the gym, which was about 1.5 kilometers, go work out for about an hour and a bit, and then walk home, and then eat my meal. And then in 2017, about the summer, I was about 100 pounds down. I was like, holy shit, man. 100 pounds I lost. Like, what the hell? At this point in time, I was very concerned with like fitting into a size medium, or like fitting into a normal size pair of pants, stuff like that. Like, I was obviously like bodybuilding training and still working out and stuff, but I was like, oh, I want to be small, I want to be normal. So that's when I was like, oh my god, man, I lost 100 pounds. So like I feel normal, and people would start to look at me normal, and I was like, oh, awesome. But with this is when I started developing a bad relationship with food. I would look at things like, oh, this is really bad, so I can't have it on Monday to Friday, but then I would like lose it, and on Saturday I would just go eat everything and whatnot. And also in 2017, I bought another car, so I could drive anywhere I want, go get food, kind of how I did before, stuff like that. This is when I would say like late 2017, late 2017, early 2018. That is when I really developed this like binge eating disorder. And that's when it was like, oh my god, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. So like Monday I would be like, okay, it's a new day, I'm gonna start fresh, eat my egg white omelet in the morning, be super healthy all week, it'd be fine. And some days I would only make it to like Thursday even, and it'd be Thursday night, and I would just muck food. I would just be driving around all night, getting cookies, getting pizza, you name it. Like, it was a pretty dark time, because then as soon as I would finish that food, I'd be like, what the hell, man? Like, I have these goals set, and like, here I am just mucking food. Like, what am I doing, I'm like self-sabotaging myself. And then that Thursday night I would get sad, and I'd be like, oh man, like, shake this off and get up Friday morning and hit the gym, and we're back to it. And I was kind of yo-yoing between like eating super healthy and clean and trying to eat like an athlete and such, and then I would completely just binge one night, or sometimes all day. I would just start my day I would go for breakfast and be like, okay, like that was a good breakfast, that was satisfying. And then I would go get muffins and donuts and lunch, and like I would just eat all day, every day, on the weekends and such. Like, it was a very rough time in my life, but I got through it eventually. But then in 2019, when I started working on my relationship with food, it was better in 2019. But I had a newfound friend group. I had my friends around. And we would go out for wings at least once a week. And that was a really fun time as well, though. Like, it was a very social time. We had some good laughs. I really bonded with some of the guys over those wing nights. And I will always say, like, no regrets, like, it happened. Although I wasn't hitting my fitness goals, I was living a good life. All the while, like, even when I was binging and stuff and such, I was working my ass off in the gym. I will always tell people that I was always working my ass off in the gym. Luckily, that's how I was able to maintain my physique and not put on weight, actually. Although I was plateauing, I wasn't gaining weight, which was good. But that's because I was still putting on muscle. But I was still in this rough cycle of the binge eating. So this leads us up to 2020. So in the New Year's of 2020, that is when I mentally clicked myself, and I was like, you know what, this is my year. I'm really excited. I felt a small change in my mindset, and I was like, I was on the grind hard. It was amazing. Obviously, COVID-19, the pandemic hit. I think it hit about March and April, and that was my all-time lowest point. Probably, I wouldn't say in my life. Like, I didn't have depression. I don't want to go saying like, oh, don't feel bad for me. But like, this was so bad because the gym has always been there for me over the last few years. And when the pandemic hit and it's closed, I lost everything. I lost my routine. I lost my fun place to go. I lost something that I used for my mental clarity. I wouldn't say the gym is my whole life, but I would say it's a solid part of it. And then getting that taken away back then, that hit me hard. So when that did hit me, I was like ordering food, and Uber Eats and such was super popular back then. That's obviously when it was like an all-time high. And I was ordering food every night. I would pick up Timbits on my way home from work, and I was so sad. I didn't even know what to do. I tried to do home workouts. I would do like 3 or 4 home workouts a day, a week. And I was doing these home workouts, and I was like, man, like, this doesn't feel the same. So I would just lose motivation halfway through. Honestly, it was probably one of the worst times in my whole life. Just because I was so lost. We were isolated on all this, as many of you might have been through as well. But then May of 2020 came around. We were still in this pandemic, kind of. And we moved to a new house. So I moved in with 2 buddies and my brother into a new house, and I felt this sense of optimism moving here. I was so glad to get out of my little apartment that I'd been in for 4 years, and I was so excited to move into this house. We found this amazing place. Moving in with my buddies. It was close to downtown. I could jump on the trails. It was amazing. So when I moved here, I really started working on my daily habits. So I started waking up earlier and going for walks, and I started reading a little bit, and I started making sure I had food ready. Just little things like that, but it all really came together to really, really help me out. So with that change, I lost all my COVID weight. So I gained about 25 pounds at the start of COVID. I would say 25 pounds within like 2 or 3 months. And then as soon as I moved here, I lost that 25 pounds. So I was super happy with that. And, the gyms were on and off for another year, but I was making my way through. Because it was summertime at that point too, I was doing so much biking. I was on the trails almost all the time, doing my evening bikes, or I would just hit the country roads. I would do whatever. But yeah, I felt amazing that summer. And then we go into 2021. I did put on a bit of weight in the December of 2020. But that happens every year a little bit. But I wasn't too worried about it. I was almost like, you know what, like, this is a part of life. You gain a little bit of weight, you have an amazing time off, and my birthday's in December, so December is usually a bit harder to diet around, and I kind of want to enjoy my life at the same time, so I don't stress out too much about gaining December weight. But in the January of 2020, I was working out at home and whatnot, and gyms were still on and off. And then all of a sudden, I decided to do the 75 hard challenge. So I don't know if any of you know what that is, but you basically have to do 2 45-minute workouts a day. You have to follow a diet, no cheat meals. You have to drink a gallon of water a day, which is about 4 liters. And you have to, oh shoot, my computer stopped for a sec. And you have to read 10 pages of a book. Now it doesn't sound too hard at first, but get to like day 40 and you'll be like, holy shit, man, I'm tired. So there were some nights where it'd be like 9:30, I'm fully ready for bed, and I would have to do a 45-minute workout. And luckily I had like my little stationary bike at my house, so I would jump on that motherfucker for like 45 minutes at night, completely exhausted, but I did it. It was one of the roughest things I've ever done. It was really hard, but I was committed to finishing this 75 hard. I loved it. Like, I loved the grind. And I built my best physique from doing that. So I had a new low weight of all time, and I felt amazing. And over the summer of last year, I held that low weight pretty good. I was doing a ton of biking. Gyms were pretty well open at that point, so I was feeling amazing. And yeah, I really enjoyed that summer where I was kind of like staying fit. I was playing a lot of tennis. I was staying like very fit, but I was also like going out some nights with some friends and, eating some cheat meals and not having it completely affect me. And more so than it would affect me physically, it didn't affect me mentally, because I'm like, you know what, this is my life. I feel like I felt that balance for almost the first time in forever. And that was one of the best summers I ever had. So then in September 1st rolled around. So this is September 1st of 2021. I woke up that day and I was like, you know what, we're going to start this bulk. Because I wanted to put on a little bit of weight, some muscle. And I knew it was going to get uncomfortable. I knew putting on weight would be so uncomfortable for me. Because when you come from like morbidly obese and you lose all that weight, it's very scary to think about the possibility of gaining weight, because you never want to go back. And not to mention, over the years, you start to like appreciate the new lows. You're like, oh, I'm at a new low today. Like if I hit 192, then I'm never gonna see 193 again. I'm never gonna see that weight on the scale anymore. So you get scared. You get scared of the weight going up. But I was like, you know what? This is gonna get uncomfortable. I'm not gonna like some days, but I want to put on some good weight, and I know it's gonna be a marathon, not a sprint, to put on this weight. So I really enjoyed that. I was nervous for it, but I was also like loving it, because I was actually eating before I would go to the gym, and I'd have a bit heftier meals. Obviously Rice Krispies were huge at this point in time. I ate a lot of Rice Krispies, I'll tell you that. But I loved it, and I was still going out with my friends. I just had this new friend group, which you guys might know of as the 5 a.m. crew. They're great people. So we all just kind of clicked back in August and September, and we started going out and hanging out more, and we were having a great time training together, drinking together, having a few parties. So this was like probably the best fall of my whole life. I had this newfound friend group, which I just loved. And then I lined this bulk up with my trip to Alberta. So I went to Alberta for a week in October, right after Thanksgiving, because I knew I was going to be away from the gym, and I knew I'd want to try some food, and I didn't want to deprive myself of having these meals out and trying new things. And obviously, if you're hiking mountains, you're going to need some fuel. So I didn't want to be like, oh, I have to do this fasted and stuff. So I honestly just let myself enjoy that whole trip. And I knew I was going to put on a little bit of weight, but I was like, no big deal. So yeah, it was awesome. So from then, from September 1st to about January of 2022, which just passed, I put on about 17 pounds. And I would say about 6 to 7 of those pounds are like good pounds of muscle. Because as soon as I started eating more, I really started training hard. I trained hard as hell, and I was hitting PRs and volume PRs all the time. I was able to move more weight more efficiently and cleaner. I felt amazing. I felt really strong, and I'm still holding that, which is the great part. I'm still holding that feeling. Obviously, I'm on a cut right now, but you build up the muscle, so then you have more capacity to move more volume. So I'm really glad I did that little bulk. And I'm really hoping this 6 to 7 pounds of muscle, it will be noticeable when I run this cut that I'm working on right now. And crew, that brings us to 2022. Am I optimistic for this year? Of course I am. I'm really excited. I think this year is going to be one of the best yet. And, with COVID kind of settling down now, I'm really hoping gyms stay open and we can all achieve these goals. I'm super optimistic. And honestly, I've been through this enough times where if they close the gyms, I'm ready for it, I'm ready to push through it. It gets uncomfortable, but you got to do what you got to do. And I don't want to let myself go back to the mindset of, oh, if gyms are closed, then I just give up. Because I let myself down once back in 2020, and I promised myself I would never do that again. So yeah, I'm really excited for this year. Hopefully the gyms don't shut down, but if they do, I'm fully ready for it. So some major goals for this year. As many of you have seen on my Instagram, and I've talked to many people about this too, I signed up for my first half marathon. So I do that marathon in Toronto. It's put on by Good Life. It's in Toronto. So it's 21.5K for anyone who doesn't know what a half marathon is in kilometers. I'm really excited for it. That is on May 1st. So as of the recording of this episode, we are about 10 weeks out from that. I'm really excited for it. So the running volume has been crazy lately, but it's a grind, and I'm really appreciating it. I love it's been a struggle, but it's almost like you're growing from it, and it feels really good. So that's the major goal. I also want to cut about 20. I want to lose about 20 to 25 pounds this year. So I'm already down a decent amount right now. So I have about another 15, 20 pounds to go. So we'll see. I have to weigh in tomorrow, actually. But yeah, I do want to lose some weight and lean up a little bit and hopefully see those 6 to 7 pounds of good muscle that I hopefully put on. So that's an ongoing goal. I also want to bike about 130 kilometers. As some of you know, I love biking. The most I've ever done in one go with no stopping is 70 kilometers. For some reason, when I did do that 70 kilometers, I did it on the hottest day of the year. It was absolutely brutal. It was 33 degrees. I was struggling hard, but I got through. I also had to have an ice bath after that one because my muscles were cramping up so bad. So I'm hopefully going to get a cooler day for when I tried to bike 130. But for the 130, I'm probably going to take the country roads and probably just go to Grand Bend or something like that. But yeah, I'm really excited for that. I also want to just try new things. Maybe throw some CrossFit in there. Obviously, I'm already doing the running, which is completely new. But I'm always open to try new things and new styles of training. Obviously, I'm going to continue the bodybuilding. That's just a love of mine. And the sports I do play, I love to just go shoot some hoops. And as many of you know, I love playing tennis as well. Tennis is actually one of my favorite. So yeah, I'm still going to continue the bodybuilding training. And all the sports I do enjoy playing. I usually just do like some rec sports, and those have always been fun for a little cardio addition. Also this year I want to hike more mountains. Obviously you all know I love hiking and I love mountaintops, so put the two together. I love it. I'm really excited to go out west again at some point this year, hopefully in the summertime, and go hike some mountains. I'm really excited for that. And yeah, lastly, like I would just say want to continue to learn and grow and push myself. With I find with fitness, there's always new things to learn. I'm learning things almost every day. Collecting people's opinion, what has worked, what doesn't. Doing my research on things that I care about. And yeah, I want to grow and push myself. Like I always say, 1% better every day. Now, whether that's in fitness, or maybe you decide to start reading more, or maybe you decide to, it could be anything really. Even if you like start setting schedules to take your multivitamins, or you just do new things like start a podcast. Here we are right now. Just little things, just make yourself a little bit better every single day. And I'm telling you, the growth you'll see over a year is actually phenomenal. It's honestly been the best thing I've ever done, is adopt this mindset where if I just become 1% better at one thing, 1% better at one thing every single day, then, it slowly adds up. And that doesn't make you obsessive or anything. I think it just makes you determined and passionate. So yeah, that's my major goals for 2022. Hopefully you guys learned some things from me or about me in this podcast. This is the episode 1 of the Clay's Fitness podcast. It was just a chill hangout with me, get to know me a little bit. Hopefully you are finishing your walk or finishing whatever you're doing when you're listening to this. But going forward, I'm going to bring some people on here, including my sister Allie, maybe some friends if they want to come on and tell their story and we can just chat. I'm really excited for it. I'm not going to put any pressure on these podcasts. I think it's just going to be hang out, chill, talk. I think it'll be awesome. And I think the more chill it is, I think the more comfortable we'll be, and we can actually talk more and learn more. So that's why I'm not like super concerned about being perfect or recording the perfect podcast or asking all the right questions, because it's just a personality, just get to know me, get to know my story, listen to some other people's stories, their opinions. But yeah, I think I'm going to end this one here. I thank you guys so much for listening to this one. If you made it this far, DM me and say you finished the Clay's Fitness podcast episode 1. And yeah, I'm really excited to record some more. All right, crew, thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you guys later.